My name is Claire Morgan. Until I turned 35, I believed I was good at reading people. I had been married to my husband, Ethan, for 11 years. I had known my best friend, Vanessa, since our first year of college. I never doubted that I could trust either of them with my life. It turned out I had never truly known the two most important people in it. Everything began on a rainy evening in November. I worked as a designer at a small architecture firm in Portland. That day, I stayed late at the office and came home 2 hours later than usual. When I pulled into the garage, I saw the lights on inside the house. That was normal. But Vanessa's red car was parked in the driveway. She came to our house often. Sometimes, even when I was not home, she would cook dinner with Ethan and wait for me. So at first, I suspected nothing. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. "I'm home," I called. No answer. 2 glasses of wine sat on the kitchen table. One had a mark from the dark red lipstick Vanessa always wore. Her black coat lay on the living room floor. I heard quiet voices upstairs. With every step I took toward the bedroom, my heart began beating faster. The door was half open. When I entered, Ethan was standing beside the bed. The buttons on his shirt were fastened incorrectly. Vanessa stood near the window, quickly fixing her hair. For one moment, none of us moved. My mind refused to accept what I was seeing. "Claire," Ethan said. His voice sounded far away. "You said you'd be late tomorrow," Vanessa said. That sentence hurt me more than anything else. She was not worried about what I had seen. She was upset because their plan had been interrupted. "How long?" I asked. Neither of them answered. "How long has this been going on?" I screamed. Vanessa picked up her purse. "We didn't want you to find out this way." "We?" I walked toward her. "You were my best friend." She lowered her eyes. "We couldn't control our feelings." "You couldn't control your feelings, but you managed your lies perfectly." Ethan tried to take my hand. "Claire, let's sit down and talk calmly." I slapped his hand away. "You want to talk calmly after sleeping with her in my bed?" "I never wanted to hurt you." I laughed. It was not really laughter. It was the sound of my soul breaking. "Then what are you doing here?" Ethan looked at me. There was more relief than shame on his face. That was when I realized he had been preparing to confess for a long time. "I love Vanessa," he said. 6 words were enough to destroy 11 years of marriage. I sat down on the edge of the bed. "And me?" He remained silent. "Do you still love me?" Ethan avoided my eyes. His silence gave me the answer. Vanessa left the room. A few seconds later, the front door closed. I was alone with Ethan. "When are you leaving?" I asked. "Claire." "Tonight or tomorrow?" He took a deep breath. "I already packed." That was when I noticed 2 suitcases at the bottom of the closet. So this evening had not been an accident. He had planned to leave anyway. Coming home early had only changed the timing of the truth. "Are you going to live with her?" "Yes." "Where?" "Seattle. Vanessa got a new job there." "So you planned everything." "We want to start a new life." My throat tightened. "Did my life have to be destroyed for yours to begin?" He said nothing. Ethan picked up his suitcases and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he stopped. "I hope one day you'll understand me," he said. I looked at him for the last time. "You never tried to understand me. Why should I understand you?" When the door closed, I did not cry. I only stood in the middle of the house. The ticking of the kitchen clock sounded unbearably loud. Photographs from our wedding, vacations, and dinners with friends covered the walls. Vanessa appeared in many of them. That night, I removed every picture. But memories cannot be taken down from a wall. The next few weeks are not clear in my memory. I went to work, spoke to people, and ate meals. But it felt as if someone else was doing all of it. At night, I could not sleep. I remembered where Ethan used to sit, how he laughed, and the way he made coffee every morning. Thinking about my years with Vanessa was even more painful. She had stayed beside me when my mother died. She picked me up from the hospital on the day I learned I could not have children. Whenever Ethan and I had problems, I told her everything. Now I understood that I had personally shown Vanessa every weak point in my marriage. She knew what Ethan liked, what he feared, and which words he needed to hear, because I had told her. The divorce papers arrived 3 weeks later. Ethan agreed to leave the house to me. He wanted to divide the money in our accounts equally. He wanted everything finished quickly. As I looked through the documents, my attorney Rachel Kim said, "He is agreeing too easily. Maybe he feels guilty." Rachel shook her head. "Guilty people can be generous, but sometimes they are hiding something." What could he be hiding? "I don't know yet. We should review all of his financial records." I was exhausted. I don't want money. I just want this to be over. Rachel looked at me for a long time. "Claire, you are making decisions with a broken heart. They plan this in advance. At least protect yourself legally." I took her advice. During the financial review, we discovered that Ethan had been withdrawing small amounts from our joint account over the previous year. Together, the transfers totaled almost $80,000. "Where did the money go?" I asked. Ethan's attorney claimed it had been invested, but there were no investment records. Rachel became suspicious. Ethan called me. It was the first time he had contacted me since leaving. "Why are you investigating my finances?" he asked without even saying hello. "Because money is missing from our account." "That money came from my income. We were married. It was our money." "You're making this difficult." "You made it difficult when you brought my best friend into my bed." He went silent. "Where is the money, Ethan?" "I invested it in a business." "What business?" "I can't tell you right now." "Why?" "There's a confidentiality agreement." His answer sounded like another lie. "Does Vanessa know?" Ethan became angry. "Leave her out of this." "She involved herself in my marriage. Now she is involved in everything." "Claire, just sign the papers. You get the house. What else do you want?" "The truth." He hung up. That night, I received a message from an unknown number. "Your husband did not leave you only for Vanessa. Keep asking about the money." I called immediately. The number had already been disconnected. The next morning, I showed the message to Rachel. "It may have come from someone connected to Ethan's business," she said. "Or Vanessa. Why would she ruin her own plan? Maybe things between them are falling apart." But their social media suggested otherwise. Vanessa posted photographs from an expensive apartment in Seattle. In one picture, she and Ethan stood together by the water. The caption read, "Sometimes you have to leave the wrong life to begin the real one." My 11-year marriage had become the wrong life in her eyes. The photograph made me angry. But this time, I did not cry. I blocked both of them. 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. I kept the house. Ethan still did not explain where the $80,000 had gone. Under legal pressure, he agreed to repay half of it from his personal funds. I wanted to close that chapter. I put the house up for sale. Every room reminded me of Ethan. A buyer was found quickly. After the sale, I moved into a small apartment in downtown Portland and changed jobs. The owner of my new firm, Julian Price, was calm and demanding. He knew nothing about my personal life. I liked that. In this new place, I was not the woman who had been betrayed. I was Claire Morgan, an experienced architect. One day, Julian reviewed one of my projects. "You make decisions that are too safe," he said. Is that criticism? Maybe. You have bold ideas, but you hide them. His words seemed to be about more than work. I realized I had been hiding myself for years. I had rejected several good opportunities to support Ethan's career. I gave up a position in my dream company because he did not want to move. After we learned we could not have children, he refused to discuss adoption. Even though I wanted it deeply, I never brought it up again. I had been erasing parts of myself to protect my marriage. Now I had to find them again. I threw myself into work. Within 3 months, I was leading the design of a large cultural center. I began running. I cut my hair. I made new friends. One day, I looked into the mirror and noticed that there was less fear in my eyes. 5 months after Ethan left me, I realized for the first time that I was no longer afraid of being alone. That was when Vanessa sent me a message. I need to see you. It is about Ethan. There is something you should know. I did not answer. 2 days later, she appeared outside my office. She no longer looked perfect. Her hair was messy and her eyes were red. "Just 5 minutes," she said. "I do not owe you even 1 second. Ethan lied to you." I laughed bitterly. That is not news. He lied to me too. And now you need my sympathy? Vanessa bit her lip. He did not leave you because he wanted to be with me. He left because he wanted access to my company. I stopped. Vanessa worked in the finance department of a medical technology company in Seattle. What are you talking about? Ethan invested in one of our confidential projects. He used me to obtain inside information. The $80,000? She nodded. He transferred the money into a fake investment account. He thought we would make millions when the company's shares went up. We? Vanessa lowered her eyes. So you were involved too. At first, I did not know it was illegal. But later you knew. Yes. Then why didn't you go to the police? Because I could be charged too. I stepped away from her in disgust. Why did you come to me? She looked directly at me. Because when everything falls apart, Ethan plans to blame you. According to Vanessa, the medical company was preparing to announce a new diagnostic technology. If the project succeeded, the company's shares would rise dramatically. But a serious flaw had been discovered during clinical trials. The company hid the results and continued attracting investors. Vanessa had access to internal reports. Ethan planned to use that information and sell all his shares before the price collapsed. It was insider trading and fraud. I don't understand how he plans to blame me, I said. The money came from your joint account. Some of the investment documents have your electronic signature. I never signed anything. He copied your signature. My body went cold. Do you have proof? Vanessa removed a flash drive from her purse. It contains emails, transfers, and copies of the documents. I did not take it. Give it to the police. I'm afraid. And I shouldn't be? Claire, he could destroy you. You already destroyed my life once. Vanessa began to cry. I really loved him. That does not excuse what you did. I know. No, you still see yourself as a victim. But you entered my home. You listened to my secrets. Then you built a secret life with my husband. She said nothing. I pushed the flash drive back toward her. You will give this to my attorney. Then you will go to federal investigators. I could go to prison. That is a consequence of your choices. Vanessa left. That evening, I told Rachel everything. She immediately contacted a criminal defense attorney. The documents had indeed been created in my name. My electronic signature had been copied. Worse, Ethan had sent himself messages from my old email account, making it appear that I knew about the investment. Investigators asked me not to tell anyone that an inquiry had begun. Exactly 6 months after Ethan left, Someone knocked on my door at 11 at night. I looked through the intercom camera. Ethan stood outside. His coat was soaked. His beard had grown. There was no trace of the confident man who had rushed toward a new life 6 months earlier. I did not open the door. "Claire, please," he said through the intercom. "Just 5 minutes. Say what you need to say over the phone. This is not a phone conversation. Then write a letter." I have nowhere else to go. Something old and painful moved in my chest. It was not love. It was the weight of remembering that this man had once been my family. "Where is Vanessa?" I asked. "She threw me out." "I see. The company is under investigation. My accounts are frozen." "I see that too." "Claire, I made a mistake." "You did not come here to apologize. You came because you need somewhere to stay." "No, I missed you." I closed my eyes. 6 months earlier, I would have given anything to hear those words. Now they sounded empty. "When did you start missing me? When Vanessa threw you out, or when your accounts were frozen?" "I regretted leaving you from the moment I walked away." "But you never came back." "I thought I could fix everything." "What exactly? Your new relationship or your fraud scheme?" Silence. "What did Vanessa tell you?" he asked. "Enough." Ethan began pounding on the door. "Do not believe her. She planned everything." "Who used my signature?" He did not answer. "Leave, Ethan." "Claire, please. We can start again." "We ended 6 months ago." "I love you." "You did not love me. You used my loyalty because it was convenient." He sounded as if he were crying. "If you do not help me, I will lose everything." I answered quietly. "When I lost everything, you picked up your suitcase and walked away." Then I turned off the intercom. Ethan sat outside the building for nearly an hour. I watched him through the window, hunched beneath the rain. My heart hurt, but I did not open the door. The next day, Ethan called again. Then he sent 23 messages. The first messages were apologies. Later, he reminded me of our happy memories. Finally, he became angry. "You are not innocent either. You always chose work over me. You became distant after we learned about the baby. Vanessa did not steal me from you. You pushed me away." I did not reply. This was his old method. First, he hurt me. Then he made me feel responsible for the wound. Rachel told me to save every message. Investigators discovered another reason Ethan had contacted me. He needed the old password to my email account. The first version of the fraudulent investment agreement was stored there. If Ethan accessed the account and deleted several files, important evidence could disappear. He did not want me back. He wanted access to my computer. When I learned the truth, I felt betrayed all over again. I was angry with myself for believing even a small part of his tears. 2 days later, Ethan appeared outside my office. He was waiting in the parking lot. "Stop running from me," he said. "I am not running from you. I am refusing to let you back into my life." "Have you spoken to investigators?" "Why are you asking?" "Because Vanessa is lying." "Did you use my signature?" "We were married. I did not think of it as a crime." "Using another person's signature is always a crime." He looked around and lowered his voice. "Your name is on the documents too. If I go down, you go down with me." There was no fear in his eyes, only a threat. "There he is," I said. "The real Ethan." "What?" "Yesterday you cried and said you loved me. Today you are threatening me." "I am trying to protect both of us." "No, you want to use me again to protect yourself." He grabbed my wrist. "I need to use your computer once. I can clean everything up. Then we can leave the city together." "You honestly believe I would run away with you?" We were together for 11 years. You sold those 11 years. Vanessa was a mistake. No, spilling coffee is a mistake. You lied for months, stole money, and used my signature. Those were choices. Ethan did not release me. Give me the password. At that moment, Julian's voice came from behind us. Let go of her. Ethan turned. Who is this? My boss. Only your boss? The jealousy in his voice surprised me. That is none of your business. Ethan finally let me go. You already found someone else? I looked straight at him. You lost the right to ask about my personal life the day you left me for my best friend. Ethan stormed away. Julian noticed that I was shaking. Should I call the police? He asked. We probably should. That day, I obtained a restraining order against Ethan. Investigators added his threat to the case. His return had never been proof of love. It had been the final move of a desperate man trapped in a corner. 1 week later, Vanessa disappeared. She missed a meeting with investigators. Her phone was turned off, and her apartment was empty. Federal agent Mark Ellison came to my office. Has she contacted you? He asked. No. We believe Ethan may have reached her. Do you think he would hurt her? At this point, we cannot rule anything out. I hated Vanessa, but I did not want her dead or injured. That night, when I returned home, a small box was waiting outside my door. Inside was Vanessa's phone and a handwritten letter. Claire, if this reaches you, I may be in serious trouble. Everything is on the phone. Ethan did more than steal money. He knew months ago that the company's trials had failed, but he hid the information because he wanted to profit from the shares. One patient who used the technology died. I tried to stop him. He prepared documents that would make me look guilty too. I have no right to ask for your forgiveness. You treated me like a sister, and I traded your trust for the feeling of being wanted. Ethan made me feel special. Later, I realized he does not love people. He loves their weaknesses. Give the phone to investigators. The password is the number of the room we shared in college. I still remembered it. 214. The phone contained recordings of Ethan and Vanessa. In one conversation, Ethan said, Claire will trust me. If I need to, I will convince her. She still loves me. Vanessa asked, Do you want to go back to her? Ethan laughed. If I have to, I will. A few tears and some old memories will be enough. Something inside me broke when I heard those words. I already knew he did not love me, but I had never imagined that he considered my love so cheap. In another recording, Vanessa threatened to report the death from the medical trial. Ethan replied, Then you will go to prison too, and Claire will appear to be the main organizer. All the documents point to her. I gave the phone to Agent Ellison immediately. Vanessa was found 2 days later, in a motel near the Canadian border. She was alive. Ethan had not killed her, but he had forced her to run. He offered her money and demanded that she leave the country. Vanessa agreed to cooperate fully with investigators. Ethan was arrested. As officers took him away, he asked to speak with me. I refused, but letters began arriving from jail. In the first, he apologized. In the second, he blamed Vanessa. In the third, he reminded me of our wedding. In the fourth, he wrote, You are my wife. Married people do not abandon each other during difficult times. I sent only one reply. I did not abandon you during a difficult time. You betrayed me during a good one. The trial began 9 months later. Ethan was charged with financial fraud, insider trading, identity misuse, attempted destruction of evidence, and witness intimidation. Vanessa pleaded guilty and received a reduced sentence in exchange for helping the investigation. I was required to testify. When I saw Ethan for the first time in court, my heart ached for a moment. He had lost weight. Gray had appeared in his hair. But I remembered his old smile, our mornings in the kitchen, and our 11 years together. Betrayal does not turn someone into a stranger instantly. Your heart remains attached to the person they used to be, even after your mind understands who they truly are. The attorney asked me, "Did you give the defendant permission to make these investments?" "No." "Did you allow him to use your electronic signature?" "No." "What did he ask for when he contacted you again?" "At first, he said he still loved me. Then he asked to use my computer. When I refused, he threatened me." Ethan watched me. There appeared to be regret in his eyes. But I no longer trusted eyes. I trusted actions. During a break, a guard approached me. "The defendant would like to say something to you. Will you allow it?" At first, I wanted to refuse. Then I realized it might be our final conversation. We were taken into a small room. Ethan's hands were cuffed. A guard stood between us. "Claire," he said. I remained silent. "I am ready to confess to everything in court." "That is the right decision. But I need to ask you for something." "What?" "Wait for me." I stared at him. "What did you say?" "I will serve my sentence. I will change. When I get out, we can begin again." He still spoke as if he had the right to decide my future. "Ethan, why do you want me back?" "Because I love you." "You said you loved Vanessa too." "That was not real love." "Why is this one real?" "Because you are the only person who would never leave me." That sentence explained everything. He did not want me because he loved me. He wanted me because he believed I was safe. "That is the problem," I said. "You never saw me as a person. You saw me as a home you could return to whenever you needed shelter." "You are my family." "Family is not a place where you hide when everything else collapses." "Please, Claire." "When you came back 6 months later and begged me to take you in, you probably thought my dream had come true. The day you left, I wanted exactly that. I wanted you to regret it. I wanted you to choose me again." Hope appeared in his eyes. "Then we still have a chance." "No, because by the time you returned, I had already changed." His face fell. "Is there someone else?" I thought about Julian. During the past months, he had become a close friend. He never rushed me. He never tried to fix my pain. He simply stayed beside me. But this decision had nothing to do with him. It does not matter whether there is someone else. I am here, and this time I am choosing myself. Tears filled Ethan's eyes. "I never wanted to lose you." "You did not lose me. You chose to walk away." I stood up. "Goodbye, Ethan." "Claire!" When I reached the door, he asked one final question. "Will you ever forgive me?" I turned toward him. "Maybe. But forgiveness does not mean coming back." Then I left the room. This time, I was the one who closed the door. Ethan pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison. Several executives from the medical company were convicted as well. The family of the patient who died received a large settlement. Vanessa was sentenced to 3 years of probation and community service. She moved to another state. After the trial, she sent me one final letter. "I am not asking for forgiveness. I only hope you become happy without me. I failed to value the fact that I was once the person closest to you." I did not reply, but I did not tear up the letter either. The past cannot be erased. You can only learn how to live with it. 1 year later, Julian and I stood together at the opening ceremony of the Cultural Center. It was the largest project I had ever led. The building had a wide central hall where sunlight poured in through the ceiling. Julian handed me a glass of champagne. "You no longer make safe decisions," he said. "I listened to your criticism." No, you started listening to yourself. I smiled. That evening, he drove me home. At the entrance, he stopped. Claire, I do not want to pressure you, but I would like to see you outside of work. Is this a date? Yes, a real date. The old version of me would have become afraid and invented an excuse. But I no longer wanted fear to make my decisions. Friday, I said. He smiled. Friday. After Julian left, I entered my apartment. The lights of Portland glowed beyond the window. A year earlier, I had mistaken this silence for loneliness. Now it felt like freedom. I took Ethan's final letter from a drawer. He had apologized again and written that he was still waiting. I folded it and placed it in the trash. Then I opened the window. Cool air entered the room. I used to dream about Ethan returning. I imagined him standing at my door, admitting he had made a mistake and choosing me again. He really did return. He cried, begged, and asked me to take him back. But by then, I understood something important. Sometimes, the return of the person who broke your heart is not the continuation of a love story. It is the final test, proving that you can live without them. When Ethan left me for my best friend, I felt that I was not enough. Was I not beautiful enough? Was I not a good wife? Why did he choose her instead of me? Over time, I found the answer. His choice did not define my worth. It revealed his character. And my choice afterward, to rebuild myself, revealed mine. He came back 6 months later, but he could not find the woman he had abandoned. She no longer existed. In her place stood a woman who knew her value, who no longer feared the truth, and who feared losing herself more than being alone. Did I forgive him? Yes. One day I did. Not for him, for myself. I did not want his betrayal living inside my heart forever. But I did not take him back. Because when certain doors remain open, the past finds a way to return. And another door had already opened in front of me. This time, what waited beyond it was not someone else's choice. It was my own life.